Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Friday, the 5th of December. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, okay, we've trickled up slightly yesterday. This is actually made a significant change on the bigger picture charts, but it doesn't actually look like much here. But mainly the scenario yesterday where I was talking about the possibility we might see actually a very sharp move down is pretty much disappearing this morning. So we've got not a lot of movement on ES, not a lot of movement on NQ, which still has a pretty decent looking double top, and we've still got possible double top or topping pattern forming on ES. RTY, we lost the double top and that went up significantly. And we're getting pretty close to a retest of the high on the RTH charts. YM, nice looking wedge here actually, which is starting to break down, but I'm thinking this, I think we might be setting up for a modest retracement, but the larger one I was talking about yesterday I think is off the table. We had a nice looking double top on DAX, and that's breaking higher, and ESTX was already doing pretty well. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts, where on SPX we've still got possible daily RSI 5 sell signal brewing on both ES and SPX. We don't have one on the Qs. We do have one on Dia, and it's nice. And we do have one, I think, on IWM. Hang on, let's just check. Yeah, IWM, we got a very nice one, but you can see on IWM we're very close to retesting this high. I was also talking about the possibility that we might see another sharp move down on DAX and Nikkei, and on DAX you can see we're now well over the daily middle band, and Nikkei you can see the same. That was a hard break over it yesterday, so that was something we weren't really seeing on obviously the US charts, which were just trickling higher a bit apart from IWM. But that is more or less killing off that larger scenario I was talking about, where we might see a breakdown from this head and shoulders and basically a retest of the low on DAX, and that is moving fairly rapidly off the table. So where does that leave us? All right, on IWM. Still got a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed, getting very close to a retest of the high. And this is an obvious level potentially to retrace from. I'll be doing some work over the weekend on in terms of the shorter term patterns here, but we've got quite a lot of negative divergence, and I am thinking that we might see a modest retracement to try to play that out. On the daily RSI 5s, I don't think this looks ready yet. If we're not going to see a sizable retracement here, then really I'm still looking for the retest of the highs across the board. We've almost made it on IWM. We're getting close. We're only 55 handles away on SPX. We are about 12 handles away on the Qs. They're all within range. Getting pretty close on Dia as well. But I'm thinking we're likely to retest that next week, and then we will see what happens. In terms of the rising wedges, we've got plenty of room within those. This is the rising wedge resistance trend line on Dia. We've got even more room on the Qs, and looking at SPX, I think these will be respected. I'm thinking we'll make new highs, but I don't think we're going to see any progress above the wedge resistance trend lines, which I'll be looking at and giving all the numbers and levels for fairly soon. So I think that's likely to be our resistance trend line for December. We shall see how that goes. Doesn't mean it needs to be reached, but it means it's not likely to be significantly exceeded. All right, great. Let's have a look at DX. Now, DX, we've broken down for a double top. We had a 6-minute buy signal brewing. That has fixed, but so far we're not really getting off the ground. So we've obviously got an inflection point here. Either we reject back up into these highs, or we head back down into these lows. And that's part of a larger inflection point where we could go up to 104 or basically come back to the 96 area. So watching this with interest. At the moment, this looks like a sideways consolidation before it breaks down. That may change, but that's what it looks like right now. We do have a very nice looking overall bear flag on the euro. Not a lot to see on most of the others. This does look like a bull flag on the USD/JPY chart. So we'll see how that goes. All right, looking at ZB. ZB I am wondering if we might head lower, not least. We've obviously got a 60-minute buy signal. It's reached the possible near miss target. We do have a potential double top here, but one thing I was watching was on ZN. Was this trend line going to break? And that has broken. Now, this could still be a double bottom, and I've marked in the double bottom resistance trend line here. But if we continue down here, then we might actually be starting a significant slide. We will see. CL, still leaning towards seeing a retest of test of this target here in the 60.75 to 61.15 area. HO, this is a nice looking double bottom, and it's getting closer towards breaking up. On RBOB, could this be a bull flag? Maybe. But we've already made this double bottom target. There's still room to reach the higher target on the double bottom, which hasn't been reached yet. But there's nothing really compelling suggesting that we're going to see that. But if it goes up in sympathy with HO and CL, there are reasons to think those two are going to go up. Now, NG, I was thinking this might have been a double top here, and at the moment, it hasn't been. We are continuing to go up. Still on a 6-minute sell signal. It hasn't failed yet. But at the moment, it's not delivering anything. And this is starting to look like a significant breakup. I'll be talking about targets on the bigger picture at the weekend, and I'll have them on Monday, but there is a possibility of heading up into the 6.5 area here. Looking at GC, I am still leaning towards seeing a retest of the all-time high in the not particularly distant future. So this is at the moment just trickling up. SI, we broke down for a little top, and that's mostly rejected so far. I'm thinking we could be forming a bull flag here and go a little lower, but what this doesn't look like is a double top, which has any commitment to actually playing out. Palladium, still again leaning higher. Platinum leaning higher. HG not leaning higher, but it seems to be going higher anyway. This no longer looks like a double top. I'm going to be having a closer look at this at the weekend, but at the moment this is not behaving and going down. All right, KC. KC is still kicking around the monthly middle band. We're still waiting for direction. SB looks like an overall bear flag forming, but we've still got a double bottom target in the 15.43 area, and I'm not seeing anything compelling saying we aren't going to make that target. CC, possible bottoming action, 6-minute sell signal that's delivered very little so far. CT could be an IHS forming here, and actually we're in the ideal right shoulder area, or he's getting into it now. So watching that with interest, and I'm thinking we might see that play out. We will see. I might be using an alternate head and shoulders neckline though, which would be that one. So it might be, I'll have a look at that over the weekend and choose which one would likely to be better. But I'm thinking it might well be the second one, so I'm just going to put that in as a reminder for me at the weekend. All right. So either way, this is kind of looking like an IHS forming, and a pretty decent one. Okay, lumber. Nice looking double bottom, hasn't broken up yet, but I'm thinking more. The wedge is suggesting more of a rally here. On wheat, very nice looking double bottom, hasn't broken up yet. Corn, just consolidating sideways at the moment, leaning higher on both of those. On soy, we've got a head and shoulders which has broken down with a target in the 105.8.75 area, and I'm liking that target. So not much move towards it so far, but it looks nice. ZL, back test to the monthly pivot, holding that so far. Week 60-minute buy signal fixed, and that's reaching the possible near miss target area. Live cattle, we seem to be going through the inverted head and shoulder area. The next one is up here in about the 228.5 area. And I've got a third and last one up here in about the 232 area. Looking at HE, again, next obvious target would be would basically be this target area, 83.3 to 83.6 area. That is a possible double bottom resistance or possible IHS neckline. I think we'll reach it, but we may well find that we've got some decent resistance there. If that sees a break up, then we could see a really decent rally on HE here, which would have a target up here at about the 88.75 area, I think. All right, bear with me a moment. All right, let's have a quick look at questions, of which we have none. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys on Monday morning. Cheers. Oh, were you talking about, George, I think, were you saying morning or mining? Okay, I think that's a wrap. All right. In that case, take care. Oh, right. Okay. Do you want me to talk about have a look at GDX and GDXJ? Was what I was asking. Okay, no worries, mate. Anyway, have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday.